Hello and welcome to this second video in the series of going over the Huntress CTF. I am not streaming right now. This is a pre-recording of a current challenge that has already been completed, mostly because I'm kind of behind on some of the videos that should be coming out to discuss the steps and procedures of some of these challenges. So this video is focusing on a specific challenge, maybe two challenges if we have enough time. However, this will be a quick video. As you can tell on the page that I have here for Huntress CTF, our team is currently up to speed for all the challenges that currently has been released, so we're doing pretty well. However, some of the medium ones are kind of difficult, and some people did want explanations on how these were solved, so we're going to go over a couple of these. Some of the team members have been able to generate write-ups and they're available on the Discord. However, I will take the time to record these videos and allow you guys to see the steps in video formatting. Most of these medium ones I am aware of. I have not actually fully completed of them, most of them. However, we'll go through them step by step as if I'm purely going through it from scratch. So none of these are pre-recorded steps that we're going to have. There's no processes that are fully complete just yet. So we're going to go through step by step. And the first one that we're going to use is hot off the press here. This one was, I think, release day 2. And it basically has a description from John Hammond. Malware analyst shared a sample that I read about in the news, but it looks like they put in some kind of weird archive. Anyway, the password should be infected as usual. So this kind of gives us a couple hints right off the bat. One is there's an article about it that we should probably read into it. 2, it says it's in some kind of archive, so we can expect an archival retrieval. And 3, it's most likely password protected, and the password is given to us as infected. I'm nine times out of 10. That's probably what it's going to be. So we're going to take a look at this note here. It says, note, this challenge is based off a real malware sample. We have done our best to defang the code, but out of abundance of caution, it is strongly encouraged you only analyze this inside of a virtual environment separated from any production devices. This is very important. I'm pretty sure the team does its best to try to defang code as they put on the description here. However, we're going to go through this with the current operating system that I have, mostly because I'm pretty sure this is relatively safe based off some of the steps that we've practiced so far. And we're just going to go see what it is. So the first thing we'll do here is we'll go ahead and download the attachments. And this will be in our downloads. So let me bring this over here. And here we go. All right. So in the downloads folder, we have this file here. As you probably have seen in previous videos or my previous streams, the first thing I always do is I kind of take a look at the properties, specifically in details, to see if there's any more information that we can gather out of. Usually in Windows, you're not going to find that much. However, I also have Notepad++. It's one of my favorite text editor programs, so we're going to go ahead and open it up with this and bring this over here. And as you could probably see, there's a lot of notes that I've been working on. So ignore those in the background. We're going to focus specifically on this one. So there's some human readable format, but most of it is not human readable. So we're going to kind of just take a peruse at this real quick and see if we can identify what type of file it is. It looks like there's 35 lines. Looks like it's all in code. I see an equal sign down here. Let's see here. Whoops, let's bring this back. So what I'm doing is I'm expanding it because I don't think it's 35 lines of code specifically. It might be. Actually, it is. Notepad++ shows that. So I'm just kind of making it a little bit better viewable for my sake. This is kind of how I read the lines, because each line seems to be separated. And there's a lot of acts here. There's a sin here. This leads me to believe, there's even a del here, this might be a script. And the way I can kind of verify that is because it looks like the human readable format here are all specific queries related to networking. There's even EOT here. Let's see here. There's a NAC here. There's another ACK. And they're patterned. So this is leading me to believe that this is probably some type of script. Now, normally something like a batch script is text readable, like it will translate to text. However, PowerShell, for example, typically is not text readable. You actually have to kind of change the file format for Windows to recognize what it is. So first, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and read this article. And we see it's from Huntress's own blog, which, by the way, I recommend. Anything that they produce is very important and trustworthy to kind of take a look at. So we're looking at this. Looks like there's a write-up. Let's see here. There's a video demonstration on it. Spawned under w3wp.exe. Okay. We observed PowerShell syntax like the following. Okay. So here's an entire command that seems to be called upon. And it's a very long code. It's all in one line. Okay, and then other points, there's cert util being utilized, indicators compromise. Okay, all right. So this tells me that it looks like it launches PowerShell. Okay, so let's see here. However, it's calling PowerShell. So even if I was able to bring this up, and you were reading a different challenge, so don't mind that. That's a part of the impossible one of the impossible challenges, which will be in a later video. Let's see here. I don't see anything that looks PowerShell related, to be honest. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. We're going to bring back up my downloads folder here. And we're going to go ahead and rename this as a .ps. That's not the right one. PS1, yes. All right. So now we're going to edit with Notepad++ again. And it looks like there is nothing translated to PowerShell. So I was wrong. So it's not a PowerShell script. However, it did highlight some things here, which is interesting. So it's not a PowerShell script. So the first thing I'm going to look at is, I'm pretty sure these are all subcommands to the system. So I'm looking for anything that I could probably Google search, and that's usually typically going to be something at the top, something like a strings. And I see this UHA, and I actually might Google search this. So I don't see anything else that is exactly human readable. Everything else looks codified. And I'm not going to Google search any of this stuff. This will probably just tell me what this command is doing underlying. So I'm just going to search for this because there's an acknowledge right next to it. Okay, so we'll go back here. We'll do a quick Google search here. UHA health insurance. Okay, well let's see here. Let's see here. We're going to close these tabs out, and we're going to go ahead and do UHA file. Okay, so we have something here. UHA file is a uhark compressed archive file. Okay, so uhark, and something I think I forgot was, it did state it was an archive file. So let's go back to that folder I had. And we're actually going to rename this. We're going to rename it. Let's start with the zip file. And let's go ahead and open up a 7-zip. I cannot. It does not recognize it as an archive. Okay. So let's just read this here. .uha file. Okay. So, according to this, yes, we'll keep in the editor for now. UHA is at the very top. Now, in previous videos, I stated that usually it's not that simple to find a string to tell what type of file format it is. In this case, it actually might be that easy, so we're just going to go ahead and rename it to a .uha. So we'll bring that folder back up here. So instead of .zip, we'll do UHA. Okay, so it's a UHA file now. And we're going to go ahead and close this out because it's no longer, well, we'll keep it open just in case. So we're going to go ahead and just try to open it now. No. So 7-zip does not have the ability to look at UHA files as an archive, which is fine. So we're just going to continue reading this. It's most commonly used with the UHA-RC compressed archive files. Okay. So let's see. Let's see here. Important differences. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna have to download this. So let's do a search for that real quick. UARC exe UARC cmd. Okay, so I'm just reading into this. It says it's free. I'm a little suspicious by how this looks. sam.gleesky.net/UARC. Okay. So this downloads a file. Where does this go? This goes to file.org. Also file.org. I'm not downloading it from there. Alright. We'll close this out. Let's go back here. Let's do file opener. Okay, we're going to take a look at this. 4 best ways. File info, file extension. What about... do Google search here. There's a Reddit thread for it, so let's take a look at this. Okay. So nothing about location to download a program for it. Alright, let's take a look at what we got here. We're going to go through an installation. Obviously Microsoft's not going to trust it, so we're just going to go ahead and bypass that. Alright. So I got this funny installation coming up. Makes me read the entire licensing. Okay. Add the ability to encrypt and decrypt files. Okay, so that's important to have because we notice on the challenge itself says there's a password there. Okay. Just going through the installation here. Alright, let's see how that worked here. Check for updates. Okay. Alright, so we bring up this little program here. Let's see here. Complete settings guide, author homepage. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so this is just the settings. What about? It looks like it involves a command. So I think it added a command that I have to use command prompt with. Alright. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, interesting. Alright, so when I double click it, it does try to extract it, however. It requires us to use a switch. Alright, so because it is password protected, let's go ahead and launch a command prompt here. let's see here. It's we'll just use PowerShell. That's fine. All right. Processing archive. Okay. So let's see here. We can do UARC. Not recognize command. What about UARC? EXE. Not recognized. Okay. We're probably gonna have to go into program files. Take a look at where UARC is installed. I don't see it anywhere. It could be in program files x86. So let's take a look at that real quick. And it is there. Okay. All right. So take a look at that real quick. So we do have UARC CMD right there. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into there. Do an ls real quick. And I'll expand this a little bit. Alrighty. So if we do a dot backslash, I don't see the exe in here. So it could be in batch. Oops. Let's do cd batch. I don't see it in here either. How did this run the command? Oh, that's right, it doesn't recognize that in PowerShell. Is it in bin? Ah, there it is. Okay. So let's do that, and we're going to go into our users downloads folder here. Let's do downloads. And we're going to use a switch. Password infected. Process aborted. Invalid command. What do we got a valid command for? C. Where's the C? Oh. Let's surround this in quotes. And it's not it. Okay, let's do UARC. Alright, so it gives me a bunch of switches. Let's see what switches we can use. Password. Let's see here. Looks like we're gonna have to somehow decompress this. So let's see here. Store, overwrite, disable, set display mode, set directory size. It's an interesting compression tool. Let's see here. Oh, extract files to current directory. Okay, so we're going to use E, but we're not going to extract it to this directory. So let's do this. Downloads. Okay, and what we'll do is call upon the command. Dash E? I might not. Let's do d/pw infected, and then we're going to call upon. Actually, we'll do so hot off the press. Run command. Okay, so might need a /d. Nope. usage UART command / switches. Okay. UART D. Okay, so I thought that's what I was doing here. Maybe the password is last. Let's try that. Command D. Why does that not like this? Oh, it's because I'm using D instead of E. So, my bad is I'm using the wrong command. Processing archive, use switch. Okay, so let's do the switch in the end. Infected. Still requires a password. Okay, so it doesn't like the password. Or maybe it does have to be separated by that. Nope. Let's do it in the front. So, because it did say switches are in the front. Oh, I didn't like that. Let's do this. Maybe it just needs the switch. And then we'll do this. Okay, looks like it finally, finally we got the entire command working. Hot off the press, looks like, let's see here, it only did one, which is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this real quick. Alright, so it did extract the PS1 file. We're gonna go ahead and, just for safety brevity's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and just switch this over to a .txt, right? And then we're gonna edit with Notepad++. I just got a notification. Did it delete it? Okay, come on. So Windows Defender is going crazy. It doesn't want me to. Oh, it removed it. Okay, let's try that again and try to stop Windows Defender from completely removing it. Okay, I have to do this real quick. Okay, allow on device. We're going to go ahead and rename this. Windows Defender doing its job, which I understand. Yes. Oh, it keeps removing it. All right, let's see if I can do this real quick. All right, on my other screen that I'm looking at right now, and I'm monitoring my my stuff here. We're gonna take a look at this real quick. It does not like that file. Okay, actions. We're gonna go ahead and restore. Okay, restored it. We're gonna go ahead and there we go. All right. I know Windows Defender, you hate this, but we're gonna go ahead and edit. Why did it just remove it again? All right, standby. Still kind of doing some stuff here real quick. All right, let's go back. This you're gonna allow on device. Okay, we're gonna go back to here. Protection history. Yes, I know you hate this, but you're gonna restore it. Thank you. All right, let's open this up. Okay, now we have a PS1 file, which I renamed to .txt for additional sake. Now, just clarification, renaming a file to .txt doesn't automatically make you safe from any scripting, so just keep that in mind. But it is an added feature that you can do. So you get this real quick, and you see this file here, and there's a lot going on. So we're going to kind of try to break this down a little bit, kind of step-by-step process. And kind of with PowerShell scripting, if we wanted to do this to PowerShell, you could. However, I'm going to do it the hard way to avoid any possible mistakes. And we're going to go down the line here and kind of try to separate what it's doing. I can already see there's a lot of base 64 string, and it tells you what the base 64 string is. or what it is. It's base 64. It says it right there. So we see that the first line calls upon PowerShell. So that's the first thing it does. And then it adds an environment directory. Interesting. Okay. And then there's a lot of obfuscated stuff that's doing, as we can see here. So let's take a look at stuff here. We could kind of manually piece this all together if we wanted to. I'm not going to go that far. I can tell that it's doing some system element stuff here. We can kind of piece together that it's trying to obfuscate itself. But we're going to go ahead and skip down to, so it looks like it compresses itself into a gzip, and then there's a memory stream right here. All right, let's take a look at this. So there's a bunch of stuff here, right? Let's see here. It's got this, what is this? And we might bring up CyberChef here in a second to kind of take a look at this. All right. All right, it looks like the new object is this memory stream. There's a lot of pluses. So I'm going to take this out from there, because that's the so equal sign is a padding for base 64. So we're going to go ahead and copy this out, and we're actually going to go to CyberChef. This one right here, and this is from a previous challenge. Let's see here. We can probably remove something. There's a way we can remove stuff. Okay, let's do that. We can also add from base 64. Let's go ahead and do that. One second. Let's see here. I'm going to get rid of the pluses here. It's not looking good. There might be switches that we may need to get rid of as well. Let's see here. Let's return this to its original state. Oops. All right. Let's try decode. Decode text, I think. Oh no, it's the same stuff. Okay. Let's see here. One second. So what I'm trying to figure out is whether or not we can remove some of the stuff, because I shouldn't remove all the pluses, just the ones in between, because I think this is stopping us from being able to decode it. So let's just unfortunately do this manually, or hang on a second. I know I can do it with Notepad, so let's go ahead and bring this in here, and we're going to go ahead and find do. So we're going to find this, right, and we're going to replace it with nothing. And Let's see if that works. Okay, it looks like it's working. So let's just replace it all. See if that works. It does. All right, cool. So we have a full string. So it's definitely base 64. It has to be. So let's go back here. There's no decoding going on. So let's just go ahead and put base 64 back on here. See if something changes. It's still weird. Let's see here. So this is null values at the end. So this is similar to stuff that we originally saw before we extracted the archive, the original archive. So it seems to be, I'm going to look at some of the notes here. Let's go back, because we do have these weird numbers here, and this actually might be causing issues. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on here. Let's go back to this. Okay, let's see if there's any reference to this stuff here. Alright, let's do a search real quick. Let's do a count of these. There's 28 of them. Let's do a find. Yeah, all we're doing is trying to see if we can find a reference to something here. We don't see anything. I just noticed something too. So there's a gzip stream object. Okay. All right. So it might be compressed again. We're gonna have to take a look at that. Let's see here. IPT1 lock 0 dash F. Interesting. See, I don't see it referencing this. Yeah, so we're missing something, because I think that what's blocking it from being fully assembled in a sense, and it has it right here too. This would tell me that this is an S, but it might not be. It's got another one here. Okay. This would tell me it was a K. Let's see here. So we're still looking through the code, and what I'm trying to figure out is something that sticks out. What's causing these zeros to come up? Because again, here's another thing here. That's weird. Everything seems weird. Like obviously this is enable. So there's more than just zeros and ones. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. So there has to be something assigning it elements. And I see this dash F here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another dash F up here. And I don't know what a dash F is. So let's look at dash F PowerShell. I don't know how to spell today. String submission. Okay, so it might be a string. Oh, okay, so there is strings. Strings up here too. Okay. But there's only 2 of them. There's only 2 hits. Okay. So we need more information that we can get about where the dash F comes from, because I don't even see that. Maybe it's a switch. That is not it. Okay. It's interesting that it has this dash F here. I see it's assigned to this assembly. Assembly.getType. So let's do a search for dash F. Alright, so there is something in Microsoft for it. Some examples. No switches. So let's go a little deeper here. So we're getting into the weeds here. This is ref. Oh, so it's ref. What is this? File name. Okay, let's separate. It does a plus here. Else that. So let's separate it there. There's that. There's that. If PS version is major, okay. Okay, here is the first instance here, right here. Dash F. Okay, so it's a dash F. Set variable. That's the force. There's an option, pass through scope. What if I don't see anything with a dash F? This is really bugging me. So this thing is really bugging me because it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. That there's this dash F at the end. I want to say that this is declaring a list, and the list applies to what's ever in here. So for example, and if it's a list, most likely the index is 0. This would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So that means this would be enables. This would be C space and then R. And then this would be IPT and then 2 block logging. So this is starting to make sense to me with these strings. So this is what we're going to do, is that I am going to assume dash F is declaring a list of strings. I'm not 100% certain, but I don't want to waste too much time in this video Google searching for things. So we're going to go ahead and find a dash F here. So first thing, I will put it here, and we're going to go backwards, dash F. Oh, here we go, here we go. And lo and behold, there are 2 of them here. So we'll go with this. So we're going to copy that over. In fact, I am going to create a new notepad just for that. So that way I have it there in the corner. And here's what we're going to do. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to clean this up. We're going to find 0, and we're going to replace it with L. So replace all. Okay, and then we're going to do that same thing with 0, or I mean 1, and same thing with capital E. And we're going to keep, because basics 4 is very important, to keep capitalization where it's supposed to be. Since these commands show it's capitalized letters, we're going to keep it the same. All right, replace all. Okay, so it looks like now we have a cleaned up string. And bringing back to what I noticed is that this says gzip, which is also gunzip, or at least gunzip supports gzip. So we're going to pay attention to that, right? So let's put in the cleaned up string into, where is it? This one. And let's see what this looks like. It's still a jumbled mess. However, I feel a little bit better. It could be the pluses too, but pluses and slashes are part of base 64, so I think this is correct. So I saw gzip, so we're going to see if we can do something about that here. Let's do gzip. There is gzip and there is gunzip. They're kind of the same thing, but we're going to go ahead and decompress this if we can. Is there a way we can decompress it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so gunzip is the decompression option here. So now we have an entirely different embedded system. So here we go. We're going layer by layer. And you got to remember, with these types of challenges, Huntress, that's their job, is they seek out and find embedded malicious programs and try to figure out what they're trying to do. And I already got another message from Windows. It did not like this because it's another hidden function within another hidden function. So let's kind of take a look at this, and we'll go a little slower here. There's a -1 there. It's getting stuff, and that seems to, okay. So we have parameters here. Looks like an attempt to kind of obfuscate what this is. Same thing with this. So it's assigning a variable, assigning another variable. Okay. So there's a bunch of variables going on here. There's another byte. So it's doing this, copying it. And I can follow along. It's not too crazy with the obfuscation. Like, it's not all over the place. So it's not hard to follow along too much. So here's another one. And we could rename these. Like, I can go around renaming these variables to make more sense about it. But there's not too many of them. So we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's see here. System convert this. This looks like a lot of padding. So let's go ahead and convert this here. Let's do a new Cyberchef actually. There we go. Let's close that out. Base 64. Another okay. Interesting. So it's doing assert util, which was one of the warnings from the critical vulnerability listing from Huntress here, as we can see down here, right? So where was it? Right here. So that was very obfuscated inside the system. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, Windows did not like anything I was doing. It's mad at me. All right, so let's close this out. We don't need that. My intuition was correct. It seems to be -F is declaring a list of indexes, however you want to pronounce it. So we took this out and we converted it here. So we have another encoded flag, and this looks to be, let's see here, it's a bunch of numbers. It's just numbers. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and copy this out. Right? Let's take a look at this stuff. Let's take a look at possibly decoding this, maybe. We don't need this because it's located somewhere else, so that's obviously not base 64. So we're going to use our friendly magic. Let's see if it can. And look at that. There's the flag. So is URL decode is the recipe. So if I decided to click on this, it does it for us. So and that's how you got it. So to kind of recap on kind of the I'm looking at the video here right now. So the video is about 45 minutes long. I was hoping this would be 15 minutes, but that's the nature of sometimes this work is that sometimes it does take a while. So we're going to go back real quick. So go back, kind of review this. Hot off the press, how does this download a file? Analyzing file for a little bit gave us UHA, which turns out to be a compressible format, and we had to download a kind of off-the-shelf compression that most people probably have never heard of. I certainly have not heard of it. UHARC.exe, which is a little suspicious to have on my system. I actually might remove this after I'm done and kind of run it to retrieve the PS1 file that's in this compression. Obviously, we had to play around with Windows Security a little bit because Windows Security is probably aware of this by now, so they know what to look for, which is good. That means Windows Defender is doing its job pretty well. But opening it up here, as you can tell, so we go from here. Well, this is not correct, so we'll get rid of this here real quick. So we get this beautiful PS1 file, breaking it down, and we see that it's calling PowerShell and it's running a bunch of stuff in the background, and then we have an encoded string in base 64. So it tells us what it is, which is great, but it's heavily obfuscated. So first off, it has it broken apart in different characters here, so we had to remove all this stuff and recombine it. And then we forgot, or at least I forgot, that there's these symbols in here that don't make any sense. Like it's not base 64, because base 64 only does the plus symbol and the forward slash. So we had to get rid of these. But first we had to understand why they're there and what they represent, which led us to figuring out that this is all over the place, and we had to figure out if this meant anything, because there is a -f at the end, and that seemed to be in a lot of places. Figured out that it does do a list of indexes for you to use. So, find or replace all that stuff, right? And so we'll do that, and then combine the string back together, and then we decode the string. And then we found out that there is even more of a decoded payload here, which seems to be a function of getting a bunch of information, and then it does another conversion here. So it's another call here that we have to convert. So we had to grab this, and luckily it tells us again what it's from, base 64. So we decoded that. We'll do this one more time real quick. We take that. Actually, we'll just replace this here. Look at this. It's a gunzip file. Or sorry. So we backtracking real quick. Let me do some things here real quick. So even though we decoded it from base 64, it still wasn't working. And one of the notes that I put on is that we did notice that it was a gzip string, and so we had to decode it. So in order to do that, we had to use gunzip, which is available on CyberChef, which is amazing. So it decodes it even further, and don't mind my cat coming into the camera. And we see that there's another function going on with another encoded string here. So we'll go ahead and take this out of the base 64. I'm going to go ahead and do this. We'll pause this real quick, and this tells us that it's trying to do a cert util, and it's trying to do a callback to this IP address. As you could tell, like, they try to defang it with putting a dot in front of the IP address. And we have an encoded flag. So they put their own flag in here. Again, we'll take this out here real quick. Copy, paste here. Obviously not base 64, so we'll just take all this stuff out. We could decode text, but you can also use something called magic, and it will find the recipe for you because it's pretty easy. So and we have the flag right here, and that's how you solve hot off the press. Hopefully videos in the future. If anything, I will try to make these videos as they make them an hour or less at the bare minimum, especially with the medium ones. However, probably moving forward, we'll try to rely more on like scripting with write-ups and stuff, so that way we try to make it a little bit faster. But I'm trying to have you guys get the same feel that I do when I'm looking at a challenge, which is not fully understanding what's going on and kind of like cross comparing notes and information that you know that you don't know, and going from there. So hopefully this was educational on how to kind of tackle this challenge here, and I look forward to doing some more with you guys. I'm hoping to do all the medium ones for you guys sometime this week, and have them all kind of curated into these types of videos. So until then, I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.